Hello, you are listening to Omni Talks Retail Fast 5. Today's episode is brought to you in partnership with the A&M Consumer and Retail Group, Avalara, Miracle, Own It AI, and Sezzle. Ranked in the top 10% of all podcasts globally and currently ranked the #1 podcast in all of retail by FeedSpot, the Retail Fast 5 is the podcast that we hope makes you feel a little smarter, but most importantly, a little happier each week too. And the Fast 5 is just one of the many great podcasts you can find on Omni Talk Retail, alongside our Retail Daily Minute, which brings you a curated selection of the most important retail headlines every morning, and our Retail Technology Spotlight podcast series, which goes deep each week on the latest retail technology trends. Today is June 5th, 2024. I'm one of your hosts, Ann Mazinga.
And I'm one of your other co-hosts, Chris Walton.
And we're here live from Shop Talk Europe once again to discuss and debate the most important headlines from the past week. Chris, yes, people will hear a little bit of a rumbling behind us.
Yes, I know. I think we will debate today, too. I have a feeling there's some debate coming in today's show. I don't know that for sure. But I know our fans like it when we debate.
We've heard that this week.
Yes.
The banter. Some call it banter. Some call it
banter.
Debate.
Yes.
I have to know, though, okay, so we're here at Shop Talk Europe.
Yes, we are.
What's kind of your biggest takeaway so far, Chris? For those who haven't yet caught our plethora.
Good word. That's the word I was going to use too. Yes, plethora.
That we've done over the course of the last 2 days, 48 hours to be exact.
My biggest takeaway? I don't know. My biggest takeaway from the show, it's been a great show. Mm-hmm. I have been, I've said on the show a lot, like, look to Europe, because what Europe's doing 10 years from now, we'll probably start doing the States 10 or 15 years from now. And I think I still believe that very wholeheartedly, because the average retail exec we have interviewed has been so sharp.
Yes.
And so impressive, and they really understand how retail works when you get right down to it, which is why I think so much of the retail innovation ultimately starts here and then comes over as well, at least in my opinion. So I think this show has been a validation of that for me, but what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we'll be on stage a little bit later today. We will also have our Key Takeaways podcast that will be available for our listeners, so keep an eye out for that on the platform. But, that's one of the questions that we're talking about, like, what's our biggest takeaway from the show so far? And I think for me, it's really been how pragmatic a lot of the retailers have been. You said they're very sharp, but I think it's not just going after these kind of wild and crazy ideas, especially as it relates to AI, but really focusing on, okay, we've identified through using AI all of this data, all these customer issues that we're facing, and to truly be focused on the customer first. Like, we're going to attack the problems with the right solutions instead of just going after and doing this whole test and learn for just about everything across the board.
Right, spray and pay with all the latest technology, tech for tech's sake. So the whole kind of show me the money concept that we've been seeing is playing out here as well. That's what you'd say?
I think show me the money, but it's more about, I just think people have been very explicit in what they're going to use the technology for, individual use cases, prioritize use cases, instead of just going like, here are all the places we can apply them. Now it's really about like, what's the strategy?
Yeah, a lot of pragmatism.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. So I'm excited there's still some more sessions today though, so I'm excited.
Yeah, and like you said, we're going to do the recap takeaway session from the stage with the Shop Talk content team here too to close out the show. So that's going to be exciting, and we will have that podcast for you as soon as it is available, right, Ann?
ASAP, Chris. Yeah. We aim to deliver as quickly as possible.
Speed is life. It's been ingrained into us for lots of reasons, and it still is our motto to this day.
All right, well, Chris, it is also the first week of the month, which means it's that time again, Chris.
That's right, Ann. It's time for us to recognize our Omni Star for the month of June. As a reminder that each month we award the Omni Star as recognition to the top omni-channel operators throughout retail. Not the pundits, Ann, not the consultants, but the real people making a difference inside their retail organizations. And we always do it in partnership with Corso. Corso's AI Copilot coaches retail leaders to optimize store performance at every level. You can transform your retail operations from data overload into data powered. So join us together with Corso today in celebrating this month's Omni Star Award recipient, Connie Droge, the EVP of Stores and AP at Burlington Stores. Yes,
right,
Burlington
Connie.
Getting a shout out. This is what Corso had to say about Connie. Connie has an unmatched track record of developing high-performing teams and a relentless focus on store execution. Her impact extends far beyond the metrics, shaping a culture of achievement, recognition, and empowerment wherever she leads. And I can testify to that too, because I actually worked with Connie.
You did.
She was a fellow district team leader of mine at Target when I had that role
cool.
well out on the West Coast, and got to know her pretty well. She's good stuff, and so kudos to her for winning this award. So it is with great enthusiasm again that we recognize Connie for her relentless efforts in advancing the retail landscape. Congratulations to Connie on behalf of all of us at OmniTalk and at Corso.
What a great person to have in that role, especially as, that space, the off-price space, is really heating up.
Oh yeah, it's hot. It's hot.
You got TJX expanding stores all over the place. You got Babies R Us going into Kohl's. I mean, she sounds like the right person for that job. So congratulations again, Connie. Chris, it's now time to get to the headlines.
Let's get to the headlines. All right, today we've got news on Abercrombie's record-setting results, Takeoff Technologies filing for Chapter 11, something called Walmart Realm, and Kohl's surprisingly what I would call horrific last quarter results. But we begin today with big news out of Amazon. Ann.
Oh yes, Chris. We've got a new announcement in headline number 1. Amazon Prime is now coming.
You're excited about
with
this one for
free
sure.
Grubhub food delivery. According to The Verge, Amazon is now embedding Grubhub into Amazon.com, the Amazon shopping app, and Amazon Prime members are now paying $139 a year for Amazon Prime and will get $0 food delivery.
$0?
No
That sounds
delivery
good.
fees on orders of $12 or more, along with other benefits.
Oh.
Amazon had previously offered Prime members a free 1-year subscription to Grubhub, but that one auto-renewed at $129 a year on top of the $139 a year Prime membership. But now, no more, Chris. It's a permanent part of the Amazon Prime subscription.
All right.
Chris, this is also where A&M wants to put you on the spot.
Right.
They say that free delivery on Grubhub is a great added perk at Prime's current cost for those who frequently order in. Though, at Amazon's current pace, Prime likely gets a price hike in the next 2 years. Since any given Prime member likely uses each benefit differently, could you ever see Amazon considering membership tiers or bundles versus a one-size-fits-all approach as they add more and more to this subscription?
I'm gonna first of all, I got a bone to pick with the A&M team, because I feel like I always get to put you on the spot question when I have the most jet lag possible. So thank you to them for that.
I don't know that they did that on purpose.
Well, I'm curious, but I think they would gladly say that they did too, knowing those guys like we do and the great relationship we have with them. But I think it's a great question. And it actually gets to the heart of why I like this announcement so much.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, Amazon's already been tiering things out with Prime.
Yep.
I mean, the grocery delivery fee is a great example of that.
Yep.
Like, that's proof positive that they are thinking about that approach or have been experimenting with that approach. And that's why I like this, because we're getting back to Prime's original roots, which is finding the ways to increase the value over price relationship, right? And so, yes, over time, the cost of Prime will go up, as it has over the years, from $99 to, what is it, $139 now. We'll still see that, but I like that they're doing this because it gives you more value in Prime. It makes Prime just more special day to day. And so now Amazon is also, the other key piece of this is we've long theorized that restaurant delivery is going to be a key part of the delivery war.
Yes.
And now Amazon has fortified itself in that direction. So that's another key element here as well that I want to bring up. So now you've just basically got Amazon, DoorDash, and Uber Eats in that space, all of which begs the question for me, Walmart, what's Walmart going to do here to defend themselves? Because in the long term, this is one place where Walmart is still potentially weak. But what do you think?
That was the number one thing for me hearing this was, Walmart, when are you going to either acquire or partner with DoorDash or Uber Eats in a very serious way to continue to keep your membership, based on the things that we've been talking about that they've been adding over the course of the last couple of weeks, and even this, adding in-home delivery, which they did in 5 more states this week. I think it's like all eyes for me for this are on Walmart, because this was a huge, huge ad for Amazon. It's sticky, and I think that it also, like, if Amazon continues to add to this, I think that they're also like getting closer and closer to being this super app like we're seeing in Asia with like Alibaba or an Alipay. Like, I think this is getting them closer to being that super app when you're all encompassing. And I think if Uber Eats, or you have ride sharing, you have Uber Eats, you have all the things coming in under Walmart.
And Uber Eats is with Instacart now too,
yes,
right? They have that partnership.
There's so much potential here. I'm still, just in case you're wondering, because I'm sure you're going to ask. I'm still keeping DoorDash.
You're still keeping DoorDash relative to Amazon.
I'm adding Grubhub
for this,
but I'm still keeping DoorDash because of the partnership that they have with other retailers. But if Walmart added Uber Eats, that might be
that might get you to Walmart
Plus. That
Plus.
might be my Walmart Plus.
Got
thing.
it. Okay.
I don't think that Grubhub being added to Amazon, as much as I like it, it's not going to get me to leave DoorDash.
It probably depends on what food delivery service you use most in your area too, right? Like,
correct.
Grubhub is better in certain parts of the country. DoorDash
True.
is better in others too. I imagine that's a factor here too. The other point I'm going to make, Ann, before this podcast just gets way off the rails, you are going full European on me today with the hand gestures. It's like, whoa, look out for the eyes here, man.
This
whoa.
is just,
you're like pointing. You're like full on Italian on me today in Spain.
You just haven't
it's
been
great.
next to me when we've been recording this podcast.
Yeah, I know.
It's
been a long time.
It just happens.
I gotta look. I'm glad I'm wearing protective eyewear. All right, headline number 2. Abercrombie and Fitch sets a record with $1 billion. That's billion with a B, and $1 billion Q1. According to Retail Dive, Abercrombie and Fitch posted the best Q1 in its history, reporting that net sales rose just over 22% year over year to just over $1 billion, with comps also up around 21%.
That's right.
By brand, Abercrombie net sales rose 31.1%, with comps up 29%, and Hollister also rose 12.3%. Net income also soared more than sixfold to $115.1 million to be exact. And gross margins, this was also crazy. Gross margins expanded by 540 basis points to 66.4%. Holy cow. And what do you attribute these Cypress Hill-like results? And do you get what I did there?
No.
Because these results are insane in the membrane. And
oh, my God. Okay. All right. I get it.
I get it now? I'm surprised it took you that long.
Well, it's a stretch there.
It's a stretch?
My friend.
Well, I don't know.
Okay. So I have to say, well, it could be jump around. Like, what's the first thing you think of when you think of Cypress Hill?
Either one works, though, right?
I guess so.
That's the beauty of that analogy.
Hopefully these results stay up, though, for Abercrombie's sake. I love this. Anyone that I've talked to in the last probably 3 months since I got my new Abercrombie Harper pant, which is the greatest pant that I've purchased in years, they know how much I adore Abercrombie and have come back to the brand because you're big into it right now. The biggest deficit right now that Abercrombie is feeling is that there is no quality made mid-tier apparel
the gap
brand
they're filling
right now.
basically.
They're filling a vacant space. You have Shein and Target and other H&M, other Zara, other fast fashion things on one side, or you have luxury. And I think especially right now when you have a consumer that is not able to go all in on luxury, they're into resale, this is hitting a price point for not just teens, but also women and men in their 30s, 40s, 50s. Like, they are spanning all generations and giving them a quality made, high design product that, typically, I mean, you walk into an Abercrombie store, it's like a t-shirt that you would see on the Row or Reformation, but it's $45 instead of $220.
Yeah.
And so they've been so smart. They've cut back on stores. They're doing all of the right things. Abercrombie really is, to me, I think what Gap, or maybe not so much Gap, but like more J. Crew was in the early 2000s,
right.
where it is that go-to brand for everything from wedding to office to leisure. It's just fantastic.
So the Harper pant.
The Harper pant.
So, and it fits really great too, right? So
Everyone.
they've got the fit down. They got a great product lineup that they're leveraging to the best of their ability too. That's a key piece here. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I don't know if I have much to add here because I mean you're the Abercrombie aficionado here. You're kind of the Abercrombie super fan of late, actually, honestly, for those listening. But I mean, the results are completely aberrational. It's honestly been the talk of European retailers here too, and that's the thing I couldn't believe. Like, it was the talk around my lunch table yesterday about what Abercrombie is doing right. And a couple things stood out to me from that conversation I had yesterday at lunch, which is feels like they've got the right pricing equation right, hence the margins too. Like, sounds like they've maybe even taken prices up in certain instances. I don't know that for a fact, but that's what someone from Guess was telling me, and they've done a good job at that. And then I've also, the second piece, I got to hand it to them too, because this is more kind of under the radar screen, just something that I think you and I would notice. Abercrombie has done a great job, and they've been publicly stating this, of working with a few of the companies that we have spotlighted in our tech podcast too.
Yep.
Like, for example, there was a big Wall Street Journal write-up on Syrup Tech, who we just featured a couple of weeks ago on their inventory planning and allocation solution. And Abercrombie said it is driving significant results for them. Another one, Delivery Solutions, which facilitates all the different things you want to do from an omni-channel perspective. So at the end of the day, when you deploy solutions like that, it probably has an impact both on your sales and your margin line if you're doing it the right way. So kudos to Abercrombie for being out in front of that, relatively speaking, to other fashion retailers. So I just think you got to call that out.
Great leadership at that company. You have our friend June DeFabio. You have Lauren Moore. Like, these leaders.
Fran Horowitz, the CEO.
Fran Horowitz, the CEO. Like, that company is just has taken off, and I'm really excited to watch you. And if you need any influencers for the Abercrombie Harbor Pan, you're looking at your girl.
Shameless shill. Yes. Shameless shill.
All right, let's go on to headline number 3, Chris. Takeoff Technologies has filed for Chapter 11. According to Grocery Dive, the grocery e-commerce fulfillment provider is requesting the United States Bankruptcy Court for the District of Delaware to approve an agreement where a consortium of its customers will provide approximately $9.6 million in debtor in possession financing. This financing would allow the company to keep operating while it goes through a marketing and sale process, according to the company. Takeoff said that if no viable or qualified bidders buy the company, that consortium of customers may acquire some or all of its business. Founded in 2016, Takeoff Technologies had partnered with various grocery retailers, as many of you will remember, including Wakefern Foods, Albertsons, and Hy-Vee. Chris,
yes,
really sad news. I was really disappointed to hear this.
It is a really, really sad day. My heart goes out to Max and Jose and everyone at the Takeoff team for sure, because who knows how this is going to end, but you know, it's also sad for us too, because Takeoff was our very first sponsor of this actual podcast, of the Omni Talk Fast 5. So, you know, we wouldn't be here without them either. So I want to thank them for all their support over the years. But, you know, with that said, I think the other thing that's important here is it seems like the idea of automated micro-fulfillment at a localized level has lost some of its luster. Like, you know, Takeoff is struggling. Dematic told us on a podcast, you know, at the beginning of the year that they're no longer focused on it. Heck, you know, even the CFC model from Ocado that Kroger's been using has taken a hit as Kroger shut down its spoke facilities of late. So the whole thing makes me wonder if the whole concept right now is just before its time. You know, like, do we need more advances in automation? Do the costs still need to come down against what are still rising costs of human labor? And at the end of the day, too, does the U.S. market ever really need it? Or have we hit a cap on how many e-grocery orders we can actually fulfill and demand as a country? And so the value just isn't ever going to be there in the way that I think we all theorize. So I don't know the answers to any of those questions, but it's going to be interesting to watch how this story develops.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the thing that we're hearing, the theme that we just talked about this morning, Chris, is this this move of more investment in software over hardware too right now. That's where companies are investing. And I think that, you know, it's not necessarily that Takeoff had the wrong idea. I think it's just the initial capital required, the requirement of space and size. I mean, the Sedanos where we went and saw this, like, it was very efficient, but yes, you need 10,000 square feet that's adjacent to the store. In most of these cases that they were testing with Wakefern, with Albertsons and others, and that might just not be the right thing. Kim Beaudry of Dematic, who you talked about, talked about, you know, how do you make this more flexible? How do you scale back down on size so that you can really make this solution more flexible and adaptable based on the sizes of those back rooms? Like, the other thing that brings to mind is, like, we were just in Surprise, Arizona, looking at the back rooms of brand new Albertson stores, brand new Sprout stores. Those back of house spaces are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And so a 10,000 square foot micro fulfillment center is, you know, not something that is where they're headed at the moment. So I think it's just a bad timing thing too. Like, although
we know some back rooms are getting bigger and bigger too. You know, I think your point is more like, it's not a fungible application of technology that can adjust in time necessarily to the extent that it needs to be at this point. I think that's the key takeaway here. All right, headline number 4. Walmart has created a new online shopping experience called Walmart Realm that is geared toward Gen Z and Generation Alpha. According to Fast Company, Walmart Realm is part of Walmart's broader trial and error process to reach a younger generation online, which has also included multiple partnerships with the popular gaming site Roblox. Walmart Realm lives on its own web page separate from Walmart's main site. It plays like a classic point-and-click game and is made up of virtual storefronts that are designed based on insights from Pinterest Predicts, a trend forecasting report that compiles data on the aesthetics that are most likely to go viral each year. So, for example, and this is going to be fun, there's So Jelly, a fantastical coral reef drawing on the mermaid core trend. Mermaid core trend. Thank you for helping me out there. The Y'alternative, a Wild West meets Gothic glam town a la Beyonce's Western Cowboy Carter look. And, quote, Go Chromatic, a futuristic city made of silver blobs. The site was created by Imperia, a platform behind virtual stores for fashion and retail companies like Bloomingdale's. And you mentioned to me earlier this week that you were asked numerous times from friends and colleagues for your take on this. So what did you tell them?
Well, I didn't tell them anything yet because I was hoping that we could talk about this and then I would share this out to those individuals this week. And I know you are not a fan of this idea in theory, but I'm going to try to explore and to try to sell you on why I think this is a good idea for Walmart to test.
Okay.
We just, for example, we just had Jan Philippe from Hugo Boss here yesterday. He was talking about the importance of still testing these types of experiences, even if we think that they are maybe not the most direct traffic driving, maybe they're a little out there still. It's still important to take into consideration the impact that these types of experiences have for consumers and how they're finding product. I think it's a great way for them to capture an audience on social and bring them into a Walmart-owned property so that they can start to play around like I was yesterday in the jelly world. Like I was having a lot of fun with that game. So I think that there is potential here in finding out how consumers want to interact with Walmart in another dimension, kind of like this, outside of the other popular platforms like Roblox. So I think this is a great test for them to see if this is scalable, if this is something that the Walmart customer wants, and if they're able to drive traffic and sales on Walmart.com from this type of experience.
Yeah, I mean, I've lauded every single thing that Walmart's done this year. Like literally, I think every single thing. But this is one I can't get on board with this one. I don't think every test is a good test.
Okay.
And the reason for that is I think I don't like standalone experiences. I didn't like them at Target when Target Creative would do them for back to college and holiday. They just never get the traffic. So that's a very different phenomenon than when you're trying to test something in Roblox where the traffic is already there.
Yeah.
Or you're testing something that directly lands on Walmart.com or a part of that experience. Same reason I didn't like that's the same reason, and I told this directly to Best Buy. When Best Buy tried their live streaming, they did that off platform and the traffic was limited on that. And so that's why I generally just don't like this. So it's hard for me to understand what they're trying to do here. I don't know what it is I'm missing. And I also queried a bunch of my friends that I know and I trust, and they all said, yeah, this just seems like PR sizzle to me. But I don't know. So that's my take. I don't love it. It's not my favorite thing.
Yeah, I think we have to see. I mean, like I said, we talked to Jan Philippe at Hugo Boss. I think there is still a lot of testing being done in this space. I just interviewed Sanjay Luthra on stage yesterday about brands creating community and creating these environments as a means to gather information. So I think you really have to identify, what is this about? Is this about awareness? Is this trying to bring in somebody who might not have experienced the Walmart brand in this capacity before? And how do you serve that customer? How do you get them involved in Walmart if they might not be interested or have stepped foot in a Walmart before? This might might be a way to do that. So it may not just be about sales as a metric here. It might be updating the KPIs that you're using for an experiment like this to really see if this is something that can move the needle across multiple places: marketing, sales, and community building for your brand.
I don't know. I still think you always go where the traffic is, and your resources are finite, and I'd always put my money where the traffic is going to be. That's my thing.
All right, headline number 5. Kohl's cut its annual sales and profit forecast after posting a surprise quarterly loss on weaker consumer demand last Thursday, dragging its shares down as much as 26% in early trading. According to Reuters, discretionary spend on Kohl's middle-income customers continues to be pressured by a number of economic factors, including high interest rates and inflation, while it has remained steady among high-income customers, Chief Executive Officer Tom Kingsbury said on a post-earnings call. The company forecasts fiscal 2024 net sales to fall between 2 and 4% compared with its previous expectation of between a 1% drop and a 1% rise. And it also reported a per-share loss of 24 cents in the first quarter, while analysts were expecting a profit of 4 cents per share. Chris, what's your quick take here on what's happening over at Kohl's?
Oh, man, I think there's a ton of implications to this story. I mean, first, on the one hand, you have Ulta coming out and literally saying recently that Sephora at Kohl's is hurting its business, which means everything at Kohl's must be everything else at Kohl's besides Sephora must be in really horrible shape. I mean, that's number one. And, you know, that it also says that, as we've long surmised, that, you know, people may be going to Kohl's for Sephora, but they're not going for much else. They're not cross-shopping. That's what that tells me. Second point is, what is Kohl's reason for being? You know, if you're just going to be a set of shop-in-shops, aren't you just really a small mall at the end of the day? And so if I value my time, why wouldn't I just go to the mall where I have more selection? Right? And so third, that also brings up the point about Macy's small store strategy. Like, if Kohl's is struggling and Macy's is essentially going to think about putting the same idea into practice, why should that work any better over the long term? So those are the 3 takeaways I have from this story.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to add there, except for, like, it's not dead yet. So my thing,
it's not dead yet.
It's the Monty Python, right? I think it's important to hold out just to see what the lift is that they get from Babies R Us, and I don't necessarily think that being a smaller mall is the wrong strategy for them if they have the right partners that are in there. Sephora's a big trip driver. I think Babies R Us will be a good trip driver, but it also sounds like in that time period as they're launching this, Kohl's needs to really double down on what their pricing strategy is, because it sounds like they have there's a big miss when people are coming in for those Sephora products, that they're still full price items. So they're not doing the discounting until it's too late. So their clearancing strategy, from what I was able to gather from the research that I did for this story, they're going big on clearance. They're doing extra 50% off clearance items because they waited too long. They were trying to hold at that.
But their clearance volume was down over the last quarter.
But they're still. But what from I'm just saying, from the research that I've been doing, they are not clearancing at the right times. Their volume is down. I'm just saying it's at the right moment. So when I go in there as a Kohl's customer, yes, I might be getting Kohl's cash to give me $20 off, but that Nike sweatshirt is going to be still less expensive from another retailer, from Dick's, from Macy's, from somebody else. And then they're waiting until it's way too late, till that season is over, to do the big markdowns. And then they're having to more drastically reduce their clearance items. So I think that's something that, as Kohl's, I think they really need to get a handle on as they're bringing in Babies R Us, as they're trying to kind of bring in this new product environment into the overall ecosystem at the Kohl's store. All right, let's go into the lightning round, Chris. Question number 1. Sephora is opening up in a Tanger outlet center in Phoenix. I want to know what product need would drive you to a Sephora.
I honestly, nothing I can think of, Ann. I mean, I've never gone into Sephora to purchase anything for myself. So
nothing, no sunscreen, nothing.
No, I mean,
you got the shaved head now. You got to make sure you put sunscreen.
Yeah,
on
that's
that.
a good point. I am bald now, Ann. So maybe I do need some hair, some scalp products. I guess I don't know, some scalp care products. I guess that's a good point.
You just need to get something up on there.
Yeah. All right, number 2. Zoom Workplace wants to boost productivity and decrease how much time we spend doing busy work. So how much time, you might ask, Ann, or how might we do that, Ann? By letting AI handle it, which could someday mean sending over your digital twin to attend a Zoom meeting. So, Ann, what's worse at our Monday morning stand-up meeting, me or my digital twin?
Does the digital twin do dad jokes that are not great?
If it's my AI twin, it would have to, I would think, right?
Oh man. If we could program the AI digital twin to not do that, I would go for the AI digital twin.
The AI digital twin, yes, for many other reasons too, probably.
Okay, grocer Giant is banning large bags in a DC store. They installed signs warning shoppers that bags over 14 by 14 by 6 inches are prohibited. The ban includes suitcases and duffel bags, but not reusable shopping bags. Chris, what's your favorite suitcase, backpack, or duffel bag that you've ever had?
Well, that one's really easy for me. When I was a kid, I was probably 5-6 years old. Church's Chicken.
Yep.
Church's Chicken. Great alliteration. They had a promo with the Phoenix Suns. They gave us a little purple and orange duffel bag.
Oh, that's
which,
cool.
I remember very well.
So
it was very cool.
That's your favorite. Do you still have it?
No, God, no. That thing died a long, long time ago. It was not very well made. All right, last one. Lego on Saturday released a model of the Cathedral of Notre-Dame, complete with rose windows, bell towers, and a central spire surrounded by statues. And what is the one Minnesota tourist attraction you would like to see turned into a Lego set?
First Avenue.
Oh,
Easy.
wow, that's a good one. And for those maybe unfamiliar with First Avenue, what is that?
I don't want to know you if you're unfamiliar with First Avenue. Are you kidding me? First Avenue, it's like
There's lots of people that are unfamiliar with First Avenue, Ann.
First Avenue, the world-renowned concert venue in Minneapolis where Prince filmed Purple Rain. Prince has performed there several times. Lots of great musicians have come through and played that stage, and it's really one of the best parts of Minneapolis.
Yeah, all right. Happy birthday today to Ninja Kenny G, and to the man who definitely helped me to feel the vibration in a way which I will never be able to unsee, the great Marky Mark. And remember, if you can only read or listen to one retail blog in the business, make it Omni Talk, the only retail media outlet run by 2 former executives from a current top 10 U.S. retailer. Our Fast 5 podcast is the quickest, fastest rundown of all the week's top news. And our daily newsletter, the Retail Daily Minute, tells you all you need to know each day to stay on top of your game as a retail executive, and also regularly features special content that is exclusive to us and that Ann and I take great pride in doing just for you. Thanks as always for listening in. Please remember to like and leave us a review wherever you happen to listen to your podcast or on YouTube. You can follow us today by simply going to youtube.com/OmniTalkRetail. So until then, and on behalf of all of us on Omni Talk Retail, as always, be careful out there.
The OmniTalk Fast 5 is brought to you in association with the A&M Consumer and Retail Group. The A&M Consumer and Retail Group is a management consulting firm that tackles the most complex challenges and advances its clients, people, and communities toward their maximum potential. CRG brings the experience, tools, and operator-like pragmatism to help retailers and consumer products companies be on the right side of disruption. And Avalara. Avalara makes tax compliance faster, easier, more accurate, and more reliable for 30,000 plus businesses and government customers in over 90 countries. Avalara leverages 1,200 plus signed partner integrations to power tax calculations, document management, tax return filing, and tax content access. Visit Avalara.com to improve your compliance journey. And Miracle. Miracle is the global leader in platform business innovation for e-commerce. Companies like Macy's, Nordstrom, and Kroger use Miracle to build disruptive growth and profitability through marketplace, dropship, and retail media. For more, visit Miracle.com. That's MIRAKL.com. And Own It AI. Own It AI helps the world's leading retailers advance their e-commerce shopping experience with AI. To learn more, visit ownit.co. And Sezzle. Sezzle is an innovative buy now, pay later solution that allows shoppers to split purchases into 4 interest-free payments over 6 weeks. To learn more, visit Sezzle.com.